and we're probably live, but we're stuck
Yes.
behind the banner just like I predicted.
Uh, sh- but people should be able to hear us, right?
Well, yes, this is an audio podcast at this point.
But this is fine. At least we are kind of live already.
For all,
Um,
for all six of you out there, of which I'm one, and probably Ezra's two, so that's
I
good.
think
Oh
there
wait,
we
what?
go.
Where'd you find? Where'd you push?
We had an overlay active, and I just removed the overlay, and ta-da! Here we
Where's
are.
the Where's the remove overlay button?
If you go to media assets,
Oh, I wasn't anywhere near there. All right. Too many buttons.
yeah.
Like this is user friendly, I guess. Well, hi Norbert. We should probably introduce ourselves, although if anybody's here, they're probably here because they've been to the other three. But hello.
Hey everybody. For everybody tuning in and for those who haven't been here before, I think most probably have. This is Randall. My name is Norbert, and we are vibe coding a game in Flutter and trying to like build a game from start to finish without writing a single line of code. And we are on episode 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's four.
And I think we already did a bunch of progress, but I think let's do a quick recap, shall we?
Yep.
Um,
I think if we're going to end up this way. Now, see, none of these change from these buttons at the bottom don't do anything at all for me.
and because I
That one did.
wasn't,
That one did. Or did you do that?
I did that because I wasn't sharing my screen yet. That's
Oh,
why it had nothing to kind of put into focus.
ah,
So
okay.
let's see. Oh, I always forget to do this before stream. Let's zoom in twice. Cool. So for kind of everybody tuning in or just wanting to see the progress, I didn't do anything since the last stream where we implemented the kind of the home screen or like the first thing that opens up when you start a game. But yeah, what we have is we have like the general game where you can kind of click start a game. You have cards that you can hover over. You can drag those cards. Oh, there was an error. Don't mind that. You can drag those cards and play them, and they have different kind of effects, such the on play, on resolve, which animate in this case. Like you saw, if we release this, the on resolve just triggered, and that's why it kind of played an animation. We have a bunch of cards in here, like, and that's why.
Sorry.
Oh, I think there's an echo. Yeah. Okay. Cool. We have a bunch of cards in here. We have a bunch of rules encoded. We have this nice animation that we did, and that's where we kind of left off. Is there anything I missed, Randall?
No, that seems about right.
Cool. So yeah, I think today I teased it the last week, but we have a bunch of stuff down and we have a bunch of ideas towards kind of gameplay, how the things are going to work. But I still feel like the specifics aren't really down yet. I mean, working on an app, like building a game or an app is a very iterative process. So I wouldn't kind of try to get everything fully right the first time, but I think we need a plan on how to deal with the specifics for the first version.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to do a vibe designing session today. So instead of kind of
Ooh.
traditional vibe coding where we write code, we want to try using AI to come up with like more specific rules, compare them to how other games kind of work in this area, and yeah, try to see if AI can come up with something that is actually fun. And like we need to figure out the details to continue.
Yeah. Do you mean design as in the gameplay or as in the look and feel of the game or maybe all of that?
Primarily the gameplay itself.
Okay.
We can definitely do a bit of prototyping in terms of like different designs for different screens where, I mean, we already have a bunch of stuff down, but I
Right.
mean, I'm totally down to kind of just seeing if we can use AI to prototype a couple of different interactions or like screens or whatever.
Okay.
But mostly kind of the game design in terms of how it plays.
Yep.
So I think for this, I can quickly catch everybody up to speed. This was like the very first document I created back in the day that outlined the game ideas. And basically, this is the core gameplay loop. You draw cards, then you have, during one turn, you have energy, also called like hours, that you can use to play card. It's kind of the cost associated to playing certain cards. You can play your cards, and then you press release. They're like to on resolve or on release or whatever effects are executed. Unplayed bug trigger the negative effects, and like bugs, which we haven't really implemented yet because I feel like that's the weakest part. Oops. And that's kind of the basic gameplay. I thought a bunch about this, and there are a couple of design issues, which we can explore in just a minute. And I just wanted to see, can we use AI to try to come up with something that makes more sense in like for specifics? Because this is a roguelike deck builder game, and it is like a very specific genre, which has like a certain stereotype / archetype and how like typical games are played. And there's a bunch of different games that have like their own twist. And I think it would be interesting to see how we can kind of use this whole theme and like the idea of releasing and playing and balancing all of this to kind of make it more fun.
Would it be useful to include the description that you just said about what this is in the context of, what it's similar to? Would it be helpful to include that as part of these instructions so that as it keeps expanding, the instructions, it already has that in mind?
Yes, for sure.
Whatever that means. I still talk like about it's thinking, but no, I mean, yeah, has it in context. Has it in context. There we go. Not in mind.
I think, I mean, for sure, if we're certain of something or we wanted to kind of remember anything, then we need to add it to the context. But I think it would also be interesting to kind of see what it would come up with on a blank kind of canvas without any like previous ideas. Maybe it has like a specific idea for something that is fun. And I would also kind of try to ask it what other games are doing and how they're dealing. So to kind of formulate the problem statement is what I was having. Typically, roguelike deck builder. So for those who don't know the genre, it's basically a roguelike is a game that you replay and kind of like, I don't know the formal definition to be honest, but wait, actually we can open up the Google. So a roguelike, how do I zoom in? Is this big enough?
Can you like command? There we go. That worked.
Yeah, there we go. So roguelike is a subgenre of role-playing games, RPGs, characterized by randomly generated levels, permanent death, and often a turn-based or grid-based movement system. They're kind of influenced by a game called Rogue, which is the original game that did this. Basically, what roguelike kind of stands for is you have an objective, you go through certain levels, and at some point you will die and fail or whatever, and then you will start over. And during one playthrough, you kind of become stronger. So the first level is going to probably be pretty easy. And then for a second level, you may get some upgrades that help you progress your run, and you kind of have like turns, and in those turns you try to become stronger to then kind of defeat some end boss or like an infinite thing where you just try to set up a high score. And a deck builder game, deck builder game, which is also a very definition. Okay, let's open this up.
By the way, we are watching the comments. This is going out live. So if you're on the live stream, feel free to ask whatever questions you want to ask in the live chat. I will notice it and make sure Norbert pays attention.
Yeah. And also, if there's any kind of ideas, suggestions, or anything else, feel free to drop it in. We're like very open to anything.
Talk with us.
So, like a deck builder definition, a deck building game is a card game. So that's what we're kind of doing, or a board game where construction of the deck of cards is the main element of gameplay. Nowadays, deck building games don't necessarily have to be cards, but I think mostly they are. It's just a matter of you use some sort of instrument, most cases it's cards, and by playing the game, you improve and kind of strengthen your deck of cards. Deck building games are similar to collectible card games in that each player has their own deck. But yeah, I think it's mostly card games. And here's a couple of examples. I've actually played Balatro, which was super fun. Slay the Spire, Die in a Dungeon. I haven't played the others, but I should probably do so at some point. And they're kind of characterized by you play, and during one playthrough, you become stronger in terms of you have better cards. You may be able to remove weak cards. You may replace them by having stronger cards. So kind of improving your deck is like a very essential aspect to the game. And this is kind of the two genres we're going for. And right now, one of the issues I was facing from a design perspective is we're trying to build an app, and building an app consists of like doing marketing and playing features. That's kind of the combo we're aiming for. But it doesn't really make sense from a logical perspective to implement the same feature twice or even more. Like, for example, if we have this card, dark mode, and we wanted to kind of we play to implement it, it doesn't make sense to then draw another dark mode card to play and to implement. But most of the time, deck building games kind of reuse cards to do some action. So, for example, if we go back to this example, Slay the Spire has cards such as Attack or Defend. Die in the Dungeon has it's actually a die-based game, not really a card game, but it's kind of reusing certain effects to damage enemies and so on. Balatro is using like a standard poker card hand to play certain combos to get more users.
I do like the pun on Die in the Dungeon. That's pretty funny. Die.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty cool game.
That's cute. All right.
I think there's actually a demo of Die in the Dungeon on itch.io you can check out, which is
cool.
like super fun to do. And the issue we are facing is that, like, to best case, like typically these deck building games start off really slow, where you only have a limited number of cards. There's not much complexity, and as the run evolves, you get more specialized cards. You may build up to certain combos, and we're kind of missing this because we don't really have replayable cards, which are very simple to understand. It's all kind of text packed. If we check out this hand, like we have this draw card, multiply 5% chance to get 1,000 users. Like these are, I just came up with them, or I think AI actually came up with them. But I think we need some sort of replayability in terms of not the game itself, but for the cards. So we have like a very limited amount of base cards, which makes it way easier for us to kind of design a game and then expand into the depth by, using like a limited set of cards to go more into an archetype. And that's kind of the issue, or like the game design problem that we are trying to overcome right now.
I think then, in order, just as my take on that, in order to give the LLM enough context, we also need to describe what it is the simulated world that we're playing in too. Just enough of the keywords, like this is a a traditional burn down, sort of management setup, something coding, limber coding. No, what's the word? Darn it, brains.
Coding?
Agile.
This is agile. Yeah.
So, yeah, right. Limber, not there. See, there's my brain going to synonyms already. I tell you, I knew there was a word near there. I'm just simulating an LLM. That's all. I was just hallucinating for a second.
Aren't we all?
There's the argument. Is this really any different than we do it? Yes, it's really odd that way. I would also like to know what your setup is. So you're using some LLM, but how are you using it, and what is it? How is it tied in? What products are you using?
Yes. So traditionally, for the past couple of streams, we're mostly using Gemini 2.5 Pro in Cursor. Together with Vide, which is this visual IDE I'm working on. And it gives the app a runtime to we can place different widgets onto like this infinite canvas, which looks and feels like Figma or similar tools.
Cool.
But today I would actually like to try out different models and see
Okay.
how they perform. Like today, the goal of everything we do is I want to have markdown files. Like I don't want to produce code today. I want to produce like specifications, different ideas, and kind of we want to build up our project in this game design directory. And for that, we'll probably use a bunch of different models and see what they come up with. Maybe we may use some deep research in ChatGPT, which I've had great luck before. You can basically
Cool.
give it a query to kind of gather information, and we'll go off, wander into the wide web, and search information for you, and kind of do all the things. But yeah, that's the setup that we've been using pretty much.
You should bring in all the Google products and bring in Notebook LM and try putting stuff in there and see if you get useful stuff out of it. At least you get a podcast out of it. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, like there's like we talked about this last stream. Like there's so many different media areas LLMs can produce. Like the images themselves and the cards are fully AI generated. I think last stream or the stream before, we did a couple of cards where I showed up the workflow. It's basically just I have this prompt for a card, and you may give it like an idea for an illustration. Basically, what I'm doing is cutting out the image and preparing the card in Figma to have the correct information, and just giving it to ChatGPT, like GPT-4o, with the new image generation capabilities, and then copy and pasting the image in. And it looks really great. Like I'm really happy with the different designs. They actually really remind me of a game called Munchkin, which is super fun. Let me put it up. It's a card game, and they have like these fun and silly illustrations. Why are there
Why do you get
so many cats?
All the cats named Munchkin. It's probably what
true.
it is.
Let's see. Are
Popular
there
name for cats?
Okay, there's some cards to see. Like they have these fun illustrations, which just kind of really sell the whole goofiness of the game. And I think we're kind of having a similar style, which is working pretty well for this type of game. Like we're really going for a fun, lightweight, humorous, dev-focused things about all the pain, success, and whatever you're facing when building like software. But so what I would like to start off with is kind of just task the AI. So before we kind of dive deep into too much creativity and like all those things, I would just like to get a baseline of facts. Like I would like to ask the AI to distill what other games are kind of using as their core gameplay, what other games there are in the genre.
Yeah.
So I think for that, let's actually use a different model. I'm feeling we can try 4.0.
I would suggest also Gemini 2.5 Flash just landed, and apparently it's gotten incredible reviews.
Okay.
In terms of it, it's like the speed of Flash, but the depth of Pro already, which is really nice. In fact, Gemini Advanced website just went to 2.5 Flash as their primary tool now.
Okay, let's try. I just enabled it in cursor. Support it out of the box, so nothing else to do. And now we can switch over to 2.5 Flash. I haven't been actually using it before, and I've heard lots of good things, especially from you. Like you were like very.
It's just it's the first one I select until I run out of hits for the day. Then I switch to Pro or something else. I'm cheap, man. I'm using the free stuff and just for as long as I can, even though I've got tons of cloud credits as a GDE and stuff. But it's like, nah, I don't want to burn those yet. I want to burn. I want to burn those on Bitcoin or something. No, just kidding. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not using my GCP credits for Bitcoin. No, that would just be dumb.
It would indeed. But yeah, like I'm really curious. I think it should be way quicker than the stuff we've been using before. So that could be fun. So
Flash is almost instant. It's really weird how quickly it comes back with stuff.
Okay, so let's actually, I'm really lazy and I don't want to explain what the game is about. So let's just drag over the game MD. Please list games which are similar to this And
Oh,
crucially,
that's right. Yeah.
we want to enable web, which kind of gives it web browsing capabilities to some
Okay.
degree, so you can actually look stuff up.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Now I'm really curious how quick it is. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Okay, no, I think that's gone off to some, like, it's suggesting an MMO sandbox game for programmers, which looks fun, but it's
Ooh.
really not what we're doing. So let's kind of go back and remove.
Maybe you need to specify the dimension on which it's similar. I mean, whether it's similar
Yes.
gameplay or similar looks or similar simulation area. You might need to be more specific about that.
Okay, let's just tell it the genre, and I think that should be way better. Okay, there's a bunch.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, we got Slay the Spire, classic, Bellagio. We have Dicey Dungeons, which is a different kind of game, I think. Luck Be a Landlord. I don't know most of these, to be honest, but
Wow.
I think that's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to do now, like, I don't know any of these games, but let's give it this directory. For every game, please do some research and create. Document that contains a gameplay loop.
So what I've learned with vibe coding so far from watching you and also doing it myself quite a bit recently is that it's really all about getting the prompts right. Because you've got to set up the right sort of expectation and the right direction and condition of satisfaction all in that phrasing. And it's important to understand input, process, and output for all three levels there. Like I would like you put in a markdown file because it needs to know what kind of layout the results are going to be in.
Yep.
I've said sometimes make a list of things, and what I really wanted was a list in JSON format, so I cut and paste it. So I had to then go back and say in JSON format, and then it did exactly the right thing.
I mean, it's like you have to be specific. Okay, interesting. We're having issues with the model.
Oh no.
We may need to switch to another model. That's unfortunate.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
so what model do we want to use? You decide.
I really like the Flash. I don't know anything about anything that's not
We could
Gemini.
do auto select and let cursor decide
Oh
which
yeah,
model is
that could
best.
be the Wild West. We're way out
That's
here in
actually
the fringe now.
that's actually the recommended way because they do some stuff to figure out which model is kind of best suited for the task. Okay, Slay the Spire. It's starting off like I told it to do it one by one.
Yep.
So sometimes it doesn't like, okay, just 1 sec. Put it
Wow,
into
it's huge. This is a lot of. This is not a summary. This is the entire side of the box.
yes. Also make a shorter summary. Cool. I just gave it the relative path to kind of put the stuff in because
Yeah.
I wanted in game design instead of over here.
So because
And
you're
we
in
want it to be
Claude,
shorter.
because you're in Claude, it's an agent, so it can create the files for you as you go along. Yes.
Exactly. This is not Claude. This is kind of Cursor's doing.
Oh,
It works with any model.
Sorry. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you can see which model was used for that specific request. I don't actually know. Okay, let's check out what it found. So it's a roguelike deck builder where players climb a spire, battling enemies and building their deck. Classes, key mechanics. Okay, what we're also interested in is kind of the theme. Please include the theme and the type of basic cards there are.
You know what would be really nice is to have it do some market research and figure out what people like about certain gameplay strategies.
That's a very good point, actually.
Yeah.
That's super smart. I think I got the right tool for this.
I
How
have my
about
moments of brilliance. Please take advantage.
how about we use deep research, which we haven't used on the stream before, and that's perfect for this type of task.
This makes up for my mistake on Agile. I just had to wait for my brain to finally kick in from the caffeine. That's what it was. All right.
Okay, let's see. Deep research.
But you see where I'm going? It was like all of a sudden you're trying to filter these different gameplays based on your personal experiences, but why not let the marketplace decide what they like?
That's a good point. Okay, so deep research is taking a while, so let's just write the prompt for it now, and then sometime later during the stream we should get a response. So we are building a game. So let's kind of set the scene, what we're doing and what we're kind of trying to achieve.
Yeah.
A game. Software developer slash indie hacker building and launching their app. Cool. So first question, kind of what are the most beloved features for this genre? I think that's a very vague question, but I think it's pretty good to include. Genre. Generally speaking, I want to ask you, like, the genre has kind of like a core. Every game has its own spin on it, but I want to figure out what the core is that we absolutely need to include. I mean, what we're trying to do, like, innovation is hard. Oh, what happened? Randall?
Oh, I don't know.
I think the overlay got included. Okay, we're back.
Okay. Oh, and Ezra's here. Want to join Ezra?
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey,
Ezra. How's it going? Oh, she's setting up her audio.
She cannot hear.
No, I'm totally here.
Wait, now it says starting soon, stay tuned. That's not good.
Oh,
get rid of that.
I think we have
Banners.
another overlay.
This one here, hide this. There we go.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
And we can get rid of this one too. It's just gonna be annoying.
How are you doing, Ezra?
Doing great. I was actually, looks like I just had an URL issue, but I'm back. What about you? As I say, it's like live till 29 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, have you watched bits and pieces for this live stream, or should we get you up to speed?
I will immediately catch you in a couple of minutes. You're good to go.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, basically we're doing vibe designing, and right now we're sending off a ChatGPT deep research prompt where we just want to gather as much information as possible and kind of see what is out there. I just wanted to say, like, there's a couple of ways to innovate and kind of come up with different things. Sometimes you just start with a blank canvas and you don't want any kind of input from outside because that will influence you. I think in this case, we have like a theme in place, and like innovation is super, super hard. So I think I'm happy with kind of doing things the way like a lot of other games are doing them, and we don't need to innovate too much at once. So that's why, like, just seeing how others are handling it and kind of taking bits and pieces from different games and kind of putting our own spin of it is a pretty good way to go forward. So yeah, right now we're formulating a couple of questions for deep research to kind of do its research on. So what I'm thinking is, what do people love? Mechanics, features, what is the thing that people are excited about.
Mhm.
Also, what is like the core? What is the thing that we need to include to be part of this genre? So, what is the core of games in the genre? Mechanics, absolute need. What else do we want to
This
ask
is
it?
sometimes usually the planning you would do before writing a single line of code, but it's okay. We're just doing it
I
now.
mean,
We can pivot. We can pivot.
so here's the thing. We had a plan, and I feel
Yeah.
like during kind of the whole process, I noticed there are some like issues or like open questions. And
Yeah.
I think, I personally, I think there's a balance to strike in planning too much and like not planning at all. You don't
Right.
want to like not plan at all and just start coding because at some point like what am I even doing? But you don't want to like over plan because the reality is plans change, you pivot, things are fun, things are not fun. Like especially if you're building a game, like it's so hard to kind of predict what is going to be fun. You just got to try, and as kind of stuff comes together and people play it and you notice what is actually working, what's not, I think it's just a constant pivot. You always need to adjust where you're going and just need to see what feels right, what feels wrong. So I agree. I think there could have been a bit more planning in terms of like the specifics. But on the other hand, like we had a plan, and I just felt over like a couple of last streams there were some bits and pieces missing, which I thought we just figure out on our way,
Yeah.
but we didn't. So here we are trying to figure it out.
All right.
So
Maybe you can add something like, what could it be fun, considering this genre again, and animation, sound effects wise. Like, I'm also wondering how great it can generate those code snippets.
yes, so I think for this specific prompt we're writing, we don't really care too much about like the UI design, like how it looks, but how it plays. But yeah, I totally agree. Like we should have a
Oh, this is
design
more
talk about
market research. Okay.
exactly. Like I watched a couple of videos of similar games, like for example, Balatro, which is this poker themed game. It's like packed with micro animations. Like you can see all the cards in your hand are slightly wiggling, which just make it feel more dynamic. Things kind of move around. There's particle effects, so it's very, very much dynamic. So I think yeah, there's tons to do. In here, I'm kind of going more for some kind of market research. So let me think, what are some other questions we might want to ask it? So we can also, what other questions should we see them?
Yes. Meta questions are always fun.
I mean, so that's the thing with deep research. Before it goes off, it always, whatever you write, it will always ask you a couple of questions. So we kind of just ask it to ask us more questions, kind of. We could also do how could this genre fit into a fun, light, or like fun, humorous indie hacker dev game? Kind of just throwing in a bunch of buzzwords. I think that's mostly it. Like, we will ask a couple of questions that we can kind of expand on. Let's see, and then we can continue with what we were doing before while it is searching. So, to help with your market research on roguelike gameplay with a software developer indie hacker theme, could you please clarify a few things? Are you looking for research focused on PC console deck builders, like say, or mobile ones? Let's do mostly desktop because that's where I kind of had experience with playing them. Mostly desktop. Do you want research to cover both commercial successes and cult favorites, or mainly bestsellers? I don't really care.
Wow, that's great. It's great to just come up with questions like that.
I don't care.
I feel like mainly bestsellers can have a bad gamification logic. Like, you know, you use it a lot because you need to go every day. It's not that the logic is really good, but it's just it has that kind of gamification in it. I think I would rather have commercial success and cult favorite ones to have a higher quality game.
But I mean, aren't bestsellers usually commercial successes? So what I'm thinking it was meaning that like games that sell really well on Steam, which I
Yeah.
would assume are like commercial successes. But yeah, I mean, honestly, anything that's fun, I feel like there's certainly lots of smaller games which are kind of not that well known, but are like very beloved by a small community. Would you like to explore humor, infuse, or genre-bending deck builders for inspiration? Yeah, I guess. Is your target audience developers, tech-savvy players, or is the same theme more of a fun metaphor for a broader gaming audience? So this is a good question. It's for developers. That's kind of our target audience. But the detail, I can give you a solid list of core mechanics, play favorite features, and genre adaptation ideas. Cool. So this is gonna take a while. Typically, this takes about, I don't know, 5 to 30 minutes. So hopefully, so we won't stop the stream before this is done, so don't worry. We'll come back to it later. So, but in the meantime, we can actually continue over here. So what we're doing is basically listing all the games that are in the same genre and asking the AI to write a small document explaining what the game is about and what like the core is. Theme, basic card type. So Slate Aspire, this one I played, so I can check if that's kind of the information I was looking for. Exactly. Strike, defend, class specific basics. Yep, this is pretty much what we're looking for. So kind of just getting the theme of the game and seeing how we can fit it into this whole depth thing. Cool, continue. This is kind of my favorite, like, you know, we've been doing it for a couple of streams, but just telling it to continue is always fun. So what's important here, I think for us is kind of, this is combat based. So you defend, strike, and do class specific stuff, which is kind of advanced. We have, let's check out Bellator because I know this one too. Start with a standard poker deck, basic cards, 2 ace, jokers, special effects, tarot cards, planet cards, yes. Each round requires reaching a point threshold. This is kind of what we're going for. Instead of points, it's users. So this is where my inspiration came from for the idea before. Play cards to form poker hand, joker modify hand values, manage chip points, and multipliers. Yep, that's pretty much it. So let's see what we have. Cobalt Core. Start with basic ship systems, basic cards, attack. Wait. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering because there was like a very slight rush, like noise, and it just stopped. So I was wondering if everything's all right. But cool. So this one's also very much attack, defense, utility, crew abilities, reactor cards. This actually looks really fun. So this is pretty much the same, but like spaceship themed.
Ooh.
We have Slay Spire. We just took a look at. Oh no, this is the rogue one which we generated. Monster Train. Train defense. 4 floors to defend. Place units on floors. Enemies move up each turn. Protect the pyre at the top. What is this game? Wait, let's check it out. I've never heard of it before.
Now we've got a 2-hour stream just of Norbert being distracted by gameplay.
I mean, I don't want to continue this for too long, but this looks interesting. But yeah, this is very much card based. Like you can see, it's cards.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, then let's continue. We don't need to read through all the games. It's just as a reference. Like we're trying to build up some context for like future queries where you can reference other games. Yes. Craftlands, interesting. So let's continue.
You got a character-like voice. Continue.
Continue.
Yes. Engage.
Okay, so I think now it should be done. We can actually delete this document, which was from before. And to be honest, let's just create a new folder, which is existing games. Just put it in here. So now let's start coming up with ideas of our own. And for this, we wanted, like, I would like to kind of start with a blank canvas and ask you to come up with a couple of like similar documents to these and just see if there's bits and pieces we like and things that we haven't thought about. So let's start a new context because we don't want any of that in there and we want to control what's in there. Let's create 3 different concepts for roguelike deck for a, let's be pedantic here, for roguelike game in the theme of a solo developer / indie hacker working on getting their app shipped, I think. Here are some other games. So now we want to reference the other games that we had in there before.
Quite a lot.
Yes, we want a new document. Did I just create a new document? No, I didn't. Ideas. Please put your concepts into. Let's just see what it comes up with, if we need to be more specific or not. In the meantime, deep research is going well. It's almost halfway done. But yeah, like I think this is really an interesting way of put it into the wrong folder again. Put it in. I think this is a really interesting kind of way to okay, it's created an ideas document. No, ideas is a folder. Create.
So you're actually communicating with MD files, not just text.
Exactly. I think it's a very interesting approach as it's kind of mimicking this canvas style behavior where instead of kind of relying on a context and like the history of a chat is very fragile, where there's like a bunch of different, for example, cursor, they, I think probably, like, I'm not sure, but there's a so-called middle out algorithm, which just compresses the chat by removing chats from the middle, because there are kind of some studies or some research that AI, or like in this chat context, AI is paying more attention to like the very beginning and the very end, and the stuff in the middle just becomes a wash. So by explicitly having like the thoughts and ideas on like a separate file, it always has kind of the most up-to-date ideas and contexts kind of loaded up.
I think you are also building your RAG there, because it can just go and check the other README and figure out, because it's just like helping memory more. It doesn't need to remember.
Right.
And it's using tokens wiser. Yeah, good one.
So let's check out what it came up with. Roguelike deck builder where players manage as solo developers journey to ship their app, blah, blah, blah. Theme, modern tech startup aesthetic with a mix of coding, business, and personal development elements. Cool. So core game loop, task management, basic cards, code cards, features, bug fixes, marketing cards, social media ads. So interesting. This is very much similar to what we have in there. But I mean, there are just so many ways to build an app like this or a game like this, so I suppose it makes sense. Self-care cards, that's interesting. That's pretty fun. So you're also kind of trying to avoid burnout.
The go-to yoga card.
Exactly. build task combinations, manage energy and motivation. That's one. That's pretty fun. Balance different aspects of
Listen to
development.
chill music. Listen to chill music with vibing.
That could
Yes.
be a fun card. So we have turn-based task completion. Each turn represents a day. Okay. Manage multiple project aspects, code quality, user engagement, deal with random events. Okay, so this is very broad.
The previous one looks like it would work if I have, like health, mana, and other points that, in every round I'm just like adding something on top of it. The previous one would work like that.
That's interesting. Yeah, there's like, for example, a very well-known game called Slay the Spire, which we had a brief look at before. Let me pull it up. I mean, there's a bunch of games which are very much Slay the Spire-like. They operate on these health bars too. Like you have your own health bar.
Mine
and you
is
have,
more
like-
like Sims. Like you need to sleep until like some duration. You need to still do some of your self stuff and still need to deliver something. It's
Oh,
more
yeah.
like Sims play.
Yeah, but I mean, like the concept of having these bars which are outside of kind of the cards themselves is very well established. So I could definitely see kind of you being a developer having like a motivation bar and like some kind of energy or so. So that's pretty fun. We can ask it to expand on the ideas in a minute, but I just want to read through what it came up with. Roguelike Development where players are indie game developers, retro pixel art aesthetic with modern game development elements. Art cards, so this is mostly about building, art, code, design, marketing. Development sprint, okay. Here's the development sprint rather than a day. Manage art pipeline, code, game design. Okay, so this is very much game focused, which is pretty similar to the other one. Interesting. Network cards, modern startup culture. So I think these are all very kind of
Potential other card ideas.
I would like you to kind of expand. How does a typical turn look like in all three games?
Would you like to specify it saying like, can you please make it different than each other? Like go more creative and
That's a good point, yeah. A section of a specific gameplay loop.
now I expect something good. Distinctly different. Should give a good clue.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to come up with like one document which is perfect. I think we're very much in the business of picking like what's best and kind of matching it together. So I'm very looking forward to like bits and pieces that we like. So let's go back to the first one. So gameplay loop, morning phase. That's
typical day
turn. Cards. Choose 3 cards to play, limited by energy. Each card has energy cost, progress value, side effects. Implement feature, 2 energy, 2 progress. So I like that it's kind of abstracting away implementing stuff into progress because it's kind of hard from a game design perspective to tell the user what kind of progress it's doing because it's a game. If we were too specific, it would become a day job, which we don't want it to be. Fix bug. I also like that it's kind of combining features and bugs because they all kind of go towards progress. Right, blog post, take nap. Oh, that's pretty fun.
That's what I wanted to have. Like force me to sleep in the turn.
It's also interesting. It kind of divides it up into a day where we have a morning, afternoon, and evening. Choose one to resolve instant user feedback. Or I'm not sure if it really feels the best to kind of separate it into days. I'd much rather have it maybe as a sprint, but I don't know. Okay, but interesting. So in the afternoon, there is an event that you have to choose. Oh, that's interesting. Check this out. So you basically have to choose your own poison by giving you a bunch of things that are happening, but honestly it could just happen without you choosing. So it could just in the afternoon something catastrophic or maybe something positive happen. So it could just be positive as well, I guess. Evening
And-
phase.
It's like a gameplay, like, you know, window
Yeah.
changes and says like, okay, this happened. What you gonna do next?
That's
More
actually
like a
interesting.
single play game.
That's actually interesting. So if energy is less than 0, take stress damage. Okay. If code quality is less than 0, add technical debt. Night
Ooh.
phase. Choose one recovery action. Sleep. Okay, you don't need any sleep. I mean, just exercise through the night and you're fine, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
The game uses a burnout mechanic where pushing, let's see, whatever, rest leads to accumulating stress, which can trigger negative events and reduce effectiveness. Player must balance immediate progress. So what I'm missing here is kind of the goal. So we don't really know what is the thing you will need to hit. Do you need to defeat the enemies? Do you need to, I don't know, achieve some sort of milestones?
So just like real life, we're missing the goal.
But
Oh,
that's
God.
why we're building a game, right? We're trying to.
The goal
We're
is
trying
the
to give-
paycheck. That's all. It's just we're just putting in time.
Like highest paycheck before burnout, you mean?
And the end screen is kind of how much money were you able to accumulate before just failing.
Oh, yeah. Like real Monopoly.
Uh,
Okay, let's check out the next idea. We have this one was kind of indie game or like an indie dev experience. We have a planning phase where you draw 4 cards: type, complexity, quality requirements, special effect, character sprite, or 2 complexities. So it has a type, yes. It has a complexity, which is kind of like hours or some
Skill
kind of resource
set,
you're using up. And it has a quality requirement, which we don't quite know what it is yet. Development phase, play cards in sequence. Each card requires matching resources. Art cards need creative energy. Code cards need technical skill. Okay. Tool upgrades, skill bonuses, community feedback, fair
Community
quality check,
feedback.
and bugs to your project. Okay. Each card shows player reaction, market response, technical feedback. Choose one to implement. Gain experience with new tools. Yeah, maybe there's something in there. Let's check out the third one, which is kind of the more startup-y game.
By the way, can we check what happened in the deep research part? As it's still going?
Still going, but almost done. It's at about 90%, I would say.
Perfect.
So this one is we draw cards. Each card have like similar things. New feature, seed round, mental. So what I actually like, and I think we should probably do it, is have like general feature cards where it shouldn't be really about the specific feature we implement, even though like the cards are fun, like visually and like from like a humor perspective, but I think it makes more sense by abstracting it away into like implement a feature. But yeah, execution phase, 3 cards, funding time, risk tolerance. I'm not too sure about this. So please also add goals to each game design and what else do we need? Like we need goals.
Goals. And like motivators. Maybe goals, motivators.
Please add goals to game design. What does the player need to achieve with playing the cards? And also, how is the game lost? It's
Loss and win, maybe.
I mean,
Or is it just like based on losing or you reach something?
I mean, typically like roguelike, some like lots of times you can play on forever and it's just a matter of how far you can go. I mean, lots of games have like an end boss and like an end goal to achieve, but I think that's not too important because if you have like some way to progress, it's just a matter of do we have like one hard end boss and then it's over, or do you have like an infinite run where you just try to achieve the highest score? Let's send it off, and I think deep research should be done any second now.
You win by being the least insane of all of your coworkers at the end. I was thinking you could also have an interview card that takes up like an hour or two of your time, and you can leave it ambiguous as to whether you're interviewing for somebody else's position or whether you're interviewing somebody coming in looking for a position in your company.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's a matter of like the setting. If you want to have it more like a solo thing where you build your stuff, or if you kind of go into like a company or startup where you're actually managing multiple people. But let's check out like the different goals. So in this one, your goal is to successfully launch your app by completing all milestones, MVP to beta to launch. Each milestone requires specific feature completion, minimum user base, code quality threshold, financial stability. Make progress, each advance your project, unlock new cards and abilities. Boss battles represent major challenges. Techno debt must fix accumulated bugs, burnout, competition, market changes.
Burnout description is such a burnout itself. Can you read that?
Must recover while maintaining
while maintaining progress. The irony.
It's not like the LLMs have ingested any kind of data on this at all.
Oh, the humor in this, though, like.
Yeah.
With random events. Yeah, I guess that kind of works.
Yeah,
I kind of feel it boring, to be honest. I kind of found the first one boring. It was too real. No.
Yeah, the danger is making this game too real. Because then nobody want to play it.
I don't want to play it, you know. I'm doing it already. Like.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a fine
Give me
balance.
a card like any influencer figures out your game and you immediately hit 1 million users by nothing, like Flappy Bird kind of, like Flappy Bird Switch.
Yeah. So this one's kind of about multiple projects. Like, I think this is very similar. You're trying to achieve start 0 for 30 sprints, drops below minimum, if design coherence falls apart, roguelike elements, each run features different game genres. Yeah, I think this is very similar in terms of what it actually had as a goal. Choose successful exit, IP or acquisition.
Do you want to say a prompt like go outside of a little real world? Because I feel like this one is becoming like Duolingo for indie developers. You can learn it at the same time.
Wow.
Yes, but we have a response from deep research. So I think let's kind of just scan through it. Sorry?
Can you zoom in a little?
Yes.
Now we can see it better. Yes, perfect.
So yeah, we can take a bit of stuff from here. Like I'm still not 100% convinced by all the games on what we prototyped before, but I think it's something. Genre analysis and application to a developer themed game. Figure a fun and a frustration roguelike deck building games. Did it create it itself, or is it linked?
Must have.
Nerd Lab.
No, I don't know. It's a reference to somewhere. So I will not read through everything. Let's just kind of skim it. It's
have an AI voice read it then. Have an AI voice read it. Have a funny AI voice read it.
I mean, it would probably take quite a while, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What?
You can just like copy paste and say make a summary of highlight.
Yes,
explain me in 5 sentences. Like
make a detailed report, but then summarize it. They say, "What do you want? What do you want?"
Make it shorter. Just give me one sentence that just encapsulates everything.
So what's the bottom line here? That's the only question you'd ask.
Yes. First point, it's definitely says what I was thinking. It's really about like the synergy and about combos. Like every run is like an opportunity for you to build up your deck in like a spectacular way where you can exceed all kind of goals before you, and you're always trying to find that one run that just beats all the others. Challenging but fair progression. That's just like general game design. You just don't want to make it too easy or too hard. Simplicity with depth. So this is interesting, and that's what I feel that we were kind of missing sometimes. You wanted to start slow and then kind of become increasingly difficult. It was like clear and not overly convoluted. And that's what I was thinking. We had like the rules were or like could become too convoluted by every card kind of doing things and features and feature sets and whatever. Simple core rules. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. Yes. Play cards with limited energy. Create depth, for instance. No weird rules. Most things have a direct impact. Yep. High replayability. Yep. One more run mentality.
I like it.
Strategic adaptation attention. Exactly. It's random based. You need to adapt. You can't predict. Reward progress and mastery. Yeah, exactly. Just something where you learn to like become better. Roguelike deck builders allow for strategic deck building with endless variety, where players can devise broken combos. Like that's a big thing. Like people may underestimate. Like people really try to break stuff, and it's like so fun if you have this environment where you are actively encouraged to break it, and the satisfaction you get from actually pulling it off is like super fun. Okay, cool. Let's move on to core genre mechanics, which we need. Yes, random card acquisition. So whenever you kind of progress in progress in a run, you need to get random cards to make every run like feel special, and that's kind of difficult to. I mean, it works in this context, so I wouldn't worry. Yeah, a simple starter deck, which is also very important, that we need to kind of keep in mind at the beginning. It needs to be simple. Resource management, we got that. Procedurally generated encounters and events. Fully randomized, yes. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, it would probably not be randomized by if you have fixed goals, but I think that's not too bad because other games have like more fixed things too. Run-based structure, we got that. Card synergies and relics. Depth come from combo building. So an essential mechanic is the presence of synergic cards, card interactions, and often persistent power-ups. And say despite its successors, relics or artifacts or items collect that grant permanent bonuses. Yep. Balance of risk and reward. User-friendly plays must include randomized acquisition using deck in turn-based encounters that reset on death. No. Okay, cool. Now we actually get to like similar games, and then we'll probably talk about like what we could do. New themes, hybrid game. Like again, like we don't need to make a copy of one single game. It's more like there's so many twists and turns, but it's nice to have to see where it all comes from. So Dicey Dungeons is a dice-based game show. Oh yeah. Oh, I think I haven't played this one yet, but I've seen videos. Lucky a landlord slot machine deck builder. So this is fun. Deck builders don't necessarily have to involve a deck, which is kind of contradictory, but it's really rather
gives you the cards.
So this is I haven't played this one, but I assume it's literally just a slot machine that you probably try to manipulate to get better like payouts and so on, which actually looks interesting. Okay, cool. We don't need to read through all of these. But yeah, they all stay true to like the core game mechanics, Dicey Dungeons. Yep. Okay, now is the interesting part. So this is kind of what deep research is coming up with. So here all our thinking stops and we just blatantly copy whatever it gives us. No, I'm joking, but let's see what it kind of comes up with.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Cards as code, features, or tasks. In this theme, your cards could represent pieces of code, features to implement and development tasks. So that's what we basically have. Refactor module, implement login feature. I mean, that's what we had before. I'm wondering if it actually had memory on, because I talked to ChatGPT about the idea before and may have some bias, but I'm not sure. I don't think so, to be honest. Could have effects like resolve a bug, increase user satisfaction, boost productivity. And increase users code base. AI can use it icon to boost a big effect, just like 2 damage can combo for bonus damage. If iteratively building a product, that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could kind of like or here's another thing. What if the deck itself is your product and you try to acquire new feature cards to put into your deck, and therefore I don't know, I'm just thinking.
Can I combine 2 cards and have a new one?
Maybe, actually, maybe.
Or maybe I'm just like putting, I don't know, developers, designers, and PM somewhere and creating a card out of it. Something.
That's interesting. Yeah, like, so, right, let me pull up another link. So, one of the OG deck building games, which I've talked about on the stream before, is what's it called? Dominion. And the interesting thing about Dominion, let me pull up an image.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this card game. You can also play it online, and it's like originally it's an actual tabletop board game.
Yeah.
And in here, your deck is kind of the cards you can play. I mean, it's very similar to Slay the Spire and so on because they're all very much in the same genre. And every round you take cards and you try to have the best possible deck. So the chances of you drawing good cards to play during that turn is increasingly higher. So like, for example, you have some sort of currency and you need currency to buy cards.
yeah.
And kind of the goal of the game is to get these victory cards. But the cool thing is, for example, the copper costs 0, but is like valued at 1 currency. And 0 because you can only buy a single card every turn. There's cards that allow you to buy more, but so you might spend no currency to buy this card, and next turn you might have a higher chance of drawing it because you have more of that card in your deck.
Yeah.
But you could also go on and use 3 copper cards to draw to buy a silver card because it's valued at 2 currency. So you kind of always you're working on improving your deck. So every turn where you draw cards, you have a higher chance of drawing high value cards because you're only drawing 5 cards at a time. So imagine you're drawing 5 cards and all of them are copper cards. That's a pretty bad hand. But let's say you draw 5 cards and all of them are gold cards. That's like way more valuable. So maybe it could be similar. So you kind of your app or your project is defined by the cards in your deck, and every turn you kind of draw cards and you play them to work and improve your project. And at the end of the game, it's about what kind of cards do you have in your deck and how good they are. Very much Dominion-like, but just an interesting thought if it kind of makes sense.
I will just be right back.
Makes sense to blah, blah, blah. Enemies as bugs and technical challenges. Instead of fighting monsters, the enemies in this game can be bugs, crashes, and pipeline challenges that crop up. So that's very much kind of Slay the Spire like. That could also be fun. I mean, it could be kind of a stretch to actually fight against bugs. I mean, I guess it could work, but it feels weird. Resource management, time and energy. In traditional, you have energy and mana, limited per turn, and death themed games, limited resource can be time, stamina, or coffee. I like coffee being a resource. That looks pretty fun. Yeah, day energy. you pull an all-nighter, overclock your energy at a cost, or pace yourself. Burnout and moral as a health system. In place of characters' hit points, you could track developer burnout or team morale. Yeah.
Oh, I'm back. I
Welcome
guess I gotta drop
back.
soon. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah, I think we're probably not gonna be streaming forever. I would like to have, like, the goal of this is just get a direction where we go to and continue next stream and actually getting more features out there. And yeah, just getting the minimal things out. We don't want a lot of cards. We just want a first couple of minutes of gameplay to work.
What I actually really like about today's stream is you are actually proving a really valid point. Like, normally, if you were doing it in a normal game stream, what we were doing is like, oh, jump from feature to feature, effect to code, here to there, comment this and so on. And now you're actually saying, making the code part is easy. Like, now we can put more time in creativity, gameplay, marketing, the other side effects that we have no time to check before launching a good game. Because you are so busy building the basics, you can't even iterate the idea much.
And yeah, like, this is really the hard part. Like, if I don't know if you see, but I'm struggling. I don't know what all the all the answers are gonna be. So this is actually where kind of the creative juices are flowing, and where you actually think about what in specific is it gonna be. And I think it's nice because this is actually where value is kind of coming from, because you're actually kind of innovating, iterating, whatever. But yeah, it's also hard. Like, game design is hard. Everybody who did or does game design will tell you it's not easy.
But
I'm gonna already have a really good research result, like a game designer doing it for you, specifically in your niche area.
I want to bring my usual statement about what I found in terms of using AI is that it handles the boring parts really great, in that it actually filled in a lot of stuff here that you'd have to do some time researching back and forth. But it also fills in gaps where you don't have a clue where to go to. So it's good at both ends, that both the really boring parts and the really sort of super creative parts. It's up to you to act in the middle and kind of be the checks and bounds on the creative parts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just more time that we can spend on actual creativity instead of like just the process of getting things together and so on. A humorous tone, but I mean, creative right code, marketing questions to consider, target audience, running games, so familiar, blah blah blah. Yeah, we don't need to go that far.
If anyone has any questions, go ahead and post them into the chat room at the moment, and we'll make sure they get answered before the end of the stream.
I just put the ticker there. Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I think this is really valuable. And so what I see is we have kind of 3 different kind of archetypes of game that we can do, and in all of them, I like, the thing that I'm trying to do is like get it be simple. Like, it needs to be very simple at the beginning. There cannot be like 50 different feature cards that you need to learn and play. There needs to be like a very straightforward mechanism, mechanic. And like, I am not sure if the current idea of playing feature cards followed by marketing cards, it sounds good on paper, but like seeing it kind of in the game over here, it kind of feels weird. Like, it doesn't seem too fun to like play this card and then followed by like a marketing card and then release. I don't know. It just feels a bit unsatisfying. So what I'm seeing is there's kind of 3 different ways how this can be done. Either you have some sort of enemy, this could be bugs, this could be like project manager, whatever, that you need to like play specific cards to fix. And these cannot be too specific, because you don't want to be like, you need to play this card and you're good. You need to have some sort of freedom where you work on some kind of base resource. Like, lots of these games work on damage and about like defeating enemies, where they have a health bar and all your cards tie into either shielding or healing you, or like damaging the enemy. I think we need something as simple as this. So kind of having like the specific requirement of you need to implement a button for kind of this to work that justifies the whole purpose. There's also the idea to go towards more of the Dominion themed game where you need to balance work on your deck where you draw different cards to have a higher chance of either having cards that give you better cards to draw later on or give you more resources in the current turn, which is very much about every turn you try to prepare for the next turn, and then you prepare for the next turn. At some point, you need to figure out when is there enough preparation versus kind of laying it all out. And there is also kind of the Balatro style where you kind of you combine different cards, and Balatro is really about kind of poker. So you play pairs, full house, streets, and so on. And in there, it's all about kind of collecting these relics and building up combinations which are like super funky. But it also operates on like a very simple premise. Every kind of poker hand has a multiplier. Jokers have different multipliers. It's all about just getting the points. So I think we could do something similar for users, but like it's kind of hard to mix and match kind of this resource management style game where you have like energy, where you have burnout, whatever, and also kind of getting all the numbers. So I'm just really thinking about how could this all fit together.
And maybe I will add, sorry, but one more parameter there. How much learning curve do you want your user to start with? Like, you know, how hard it will be. For example, personally, when I want to go for a game, and if I'm just like trying, I don't like really complex ones. But if I'm gonna for sure enjoy with my friends, we can go more complex and can have like multiple levels. Like, you know, you play an Uno, then you also have an Uno reverse version and like further. But you cannot play Uno reverse with people never played Uno before.
Exactly. Yeah, that's an awesome point.
That's good, because I was also thinking of levels to this game where you could have like do it in 3 phases, where you have a certain number of cards and strategies available for MVP, and then a bunch more cards and strategies available for funding, and then a third level for final product. So
then you can unlock them in levels, Randa.
Sorry,
like
what?
When I level up, then I can maybe unlock some card set.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of these deck building games have like different kind of difficulty levels you can choose, and it's basically what kind of game are you playing based on what is your starting hand. A lot of games call it classes and like archetypes, which would fit really well into this. So I think for me, the biggest takeaway, we shouldn't implement like different features as cards. That's just way too complicated. Like you wouldn't, like we would have to have lots of these cards and they would all have effects and all be kind of unique. So you need lots of games have like this, you play a card, you do damage, that's it. So my thinking process would be, we could have a card instead of having like X different feature cards, we could just have one card which is like implement a feature.
What if you can put the humor part to the back side of the card? So you can still keep the humor, but it is not relevant to card uniquely. It's just an extra humor thing that you have. Because right now you're not using the back of the cards.
I mean, typically the back of the cards would be some uniform thing. I think it could look weird if you have it on the back.
My part was more, again, in Monopoly, when you have 2 different set cards, you have a design and backside. And then that design is specifically means it's from that deck. Like
I see what you mean.
Like, you know, feature decks have this in backside. Marketing decks have this in the backside. And when the pile is turned off or like closed, only you see is the humor. And then you you just have an excitement, maybe a clue about what did you pull from the deck or pile. And it's just a fun fact and totally not an MVP for sure. It's just because you had a really good humorous stuff there in the cards already. I don't want to lose them, but for sure you can remove.
But yeah, that's also a big thing. Like I think really this game is all about humor, and
Yeah,
just
where are you
removing
gonna
that.
put
And
the humor? I'm like,
so
put it
I think
somewhere.
that's a good problem statement. How do we kind of have humor? Okay, here's the thing. So how about you have different cards like implement feature or like implement simple feature. And when you
Mhm.
play the card implement simple feature, you get like a pop-up of 3 different
Yeah.
cards that you can choose from which feature to implement. These are like they are not really different. They may not make a difference, or it may
Mhm.
have a slight difference, where um, or it auto chooses for you. For example,
I
if you like
combined
play the
your idea
card,
now. Like,
play a
I
feature, it
mhm.
then kind of transforms into the actual feature you're implementing. It doesn't change anything, but it still like maintains the humor.
What if, what if I'm gonna just combine this with your human one card? Let's say, okay, you played the round, whatsoever. It's your turn now, and you get the poof pop up, shows that now you can pick one of the featured cards. And then there is 3 cards, and all I see is card 1, card 2, card 3. And card 1 is dark mode, card 2 is infinite scroll, and that's it. And the other one is unread privacy policy. I don't know what the feature is about, but I have a clue from the image and the card name only. Once I click the card, I reveal the feature, and I see that, oh, I gained 1K users, or I say, oh, I lost 2 hours. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to get a clue from your card game and illustration, which is fun, but the result can be good or bad. So you're actually fishing me, and then I will just like pick one, and you're adding random feeling and giving me chance of earning a good card or a bad card. And at the end, what I have is humor. You can reveal 3 cards at the same time. I would love to that, but I will be happy or unhappy about what I picked.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, thinking about if it makes, like, from a logical perspective, not a game design, but having you implement a feature and you don't know what it is. Like, typically, when you implement a feature, you would know what you're implementing, because if not, that's kind of weird. But it
No,
could be, I
it's
mean,
like
as
you
you
pick
said, you have
dark
like a
mode.
choice. Yes.
Like, I mean, you pick dark mode, you pick infinite scroll, you know what you're going to implement. You
hmm
just don't know what the side effects are. Because, yeah,
So,
dark mode, you're going to implement it anyway. Then you will learn, oh, your development team has no idea about dark teaming, but you're going to have like extra 10 development hours in it. But of course, you're going to have dark mode anyway. So you can still pick the goal,
hmm
but the
so
outcome would make it humorous.
do you think all these features should have like a distinct effect, or should they all be very similar?
However you like. You can play anyway, anything. You can even give them a bonus card. Then it would just like increase some capability of them. So it's like a fun fact. Like, you have a bonus card pile that you don't know what's coming, and you just have a chance to take from there. It can be good, it can be bad, but it's exciting. You want to go to the
Mhm.
random deck and pick something.
Yes, I actually like this. So essentially, in your hand, you wouldn't have like the features, you would just have implement a feature
Yeah.
or like maybe do some marketing. And when you play it, it pops up and you actually choose what to do. And that's what you meant, right?
Then you can also pick your pick your road forward about where you want to go and lead the game. Then it would
hmm
become a strategical card game.
Yeah, and probably would just have a pool of different features that it randomly chooses from. And when a
Yeah.
feature is implemented, it cannot like be implemented again because it's out of the pool.
Yeah.
And I mean, there could be some catch, or if you don't have any features left, maybe you don't have anything. Okay, so I like the idea. The last
Yeah.
thing that I'm kind of thinking about is one of the core aspects that we've seen in the document AI generate is the need for combos. Like you want to build up your deck to have like great combos of things kind of synergizing and kind of giving you awesome turns. So I'm wondering how would combos look like in this style type of game, and what would make sense?
Combos are not my favorite when it comes to like get that complex, because I feel like it is another thing that I need to memorize doing it. then I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about doing this. I could have actually do this.
But so most
Maybe
games
I'm not
that
the main player though.
so good combos, like most games have like very simple combo mechanics. For example, it's not like something very complex. For example, in Slay the Spire, there's different ideas of archetypes of decks where, for example, in one deck you try to play as many cards as possible in a single round by having lots of cards which give you more energy or like more resources to play. And then you have one card which kind of goes like, for every card you play this turn, do something. So it's a very simple combo to kind of memorize, but you build your deck around, you have the strong card, which does a bunch of effects for every card played. So you try to play as many cards as possible. That's a combo. You may have like a different type of combo, which is, I don't know, you have a bunch of different cards on your hand, and when you play it, it does something for every card you have on your hand, which may be bad, but that card is turning it good. So combos are not really about like having like a very deep understanding of like all the intricacies and all the things. It's more about like you build up towards something. So I think that would be super cool. So what would make sense? Like, how do you combine stuff in a game like this? I think like generally the whole thing with marketing and features kind of makes sense, but I'm just missing the last link that really gives it kind of like makes it actually work.
Let's see, what would you come up with next about it? That
Should we ask?
that should be pretty good. Oh, meantime, I need to drop off right now, and looking forward to see what's coming next.
It was nice having you on the stream.
agree.
Yeah, I think we won't be on for too long either. We'll just probably do a couple of iterations, and I think it's overall great input, and I will keep everybody posted after this what we kind of come up with. But yeah, it was nice having you on the stream, Ezra.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great one. I will be watching behind. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right. What's next?
So I just want to, like, we have a bunch of discussions. We had a bunch of discussions of like how to do things. I would just try to ask, okay, here are my thoughts.
Ah, okay, yeah. Follow up. Is this going in deep research mode though, or is it only because, or did it now the context?
This is continuing without deep research, so it only does deep research when you actively enable. We could like trigger another deep research and kind of using that information, but I don't think we need to do that.
No.
Simple hand, base hand.
We just want shallow research.
Yeah.
Just dip your toe into the pool. Tell me what it's like.
Feature/marketing. It's always like this, like coming up with the initial idea is always super exciting and like super, oh my God, there's so many possibilities, but actually going into the details and being like, what exactly is happening? That's where it becomes like hard. And I think overall it's interesting to kind of see what, because lots of ideas and projects I've had, like first day you're like, oh my God, this is gonna be so awesome, and then a couple of days later when you actually get into like doing the details, you're like, I didn't think about this. It just sounded good because you haven't thought about the details. But we want a simple base hand. How would you combine it with the idea of features, notions? What could combos look like in this dev theme? I'm lost on this one. More general ideas, please. I'm desperate. Yes. Update memory is I don't actually like the memory, but whatever. To keep base text starting hand, develop corrections, write code, feature completion, fix bug, a clock card or negative status, send tweet, tiny PR boost, introduce a hype mechanic, take a break, upgrade path or building cards, more powerful kinds of game withdraw, for example, in dark mode adds user satisfaction over time, like poison. Run A/B test, email blast, damage all users. Interesting. With the blind upscaling. Maybe industry. Here's some workable ideas, feature chains. Sometimes on card paid. But okay, this is what we've been thinking about before. But it's
Right.
like, I feel like it's too complicated. Like if you have one card which is like dependent on one specific card and not like a general concept, it just becomes way too tricky.
And probably show up that often to be interesting. People won't remember.
Exactly. I think it could be really boring because you never really get the combo.
You don't want to win a game that's so complicated to learn that it's like Monopoly and nobody ever learns the full rules and then they play it wrong.
Exactly, yeah.
I guess it's going to be hard to play it wrong.
Setting market starter, stamina, overclock brain. Yeah, I think we really need to like go away from the specific features and just keep them just as we talked with Ezra. Classes, characters, classes, faster, more efficient cards, focus on marketing, heavy decks. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Cards are more expensive, but expensive and cost tech debt. That progression, React Native. What? Where's Flutter?
Yeah.
Rust backend. Aha. We like mockup assembler and just visualize how all flows together. Okay, but I think I think we have a better understanding what it kind of takes and what constraints we need to like to take away from this. Like, let's actually write this down. What our design constraints are. Design constraints.md. Okay, we don't need AI for this. I mean, it's not writing code, so it's still perfectly fine. We need combos.
No, you got to come up with a prompt that merges this with your other text.
Yeah, but we need to write the text anyways. Like the things we kind of want to take out of this are things we discuss. Okay, so if we had an AI listen to what we're saying and using that kind of text to feed into here, that would work. But I think we talk too much and there's too much context. I mean, at this point, we can just type it. We need combos, which are easy to trigger.
So we should have the AI watch this episode.
Honestly, it would be interesting.
And see what it ends up changing.
Oh my God. We need to run a text to speech thing and then a speech to text thing. And we need to make it so we don't write any prompts ourselves. We just chat, like literally just chat to each other.
Oh, that would be funny. That would be great.
At any point in time when it kind of notices that we like want to actually like ask it stuff or like do stuff, it would then kind of send off the prompt.
That would be
and
funny.
We literally, okay, the premise would be we're not touching the keyboard at all. It's just voice.
Well, that is the wave of the future, isn't it? I've seen videos like that where people are all freaking out because they can do that now, you know? Mostly about how to create a stupid SEO-friendly landing page to make money. And I can't figure out that there's that much money to be made in doing that, but I see a lot of people doing it now, especially with vibe coding because they don't have to be smart anymore. It's scary how many videos that are showing up in my searches for AI assisted coding and things like that. The searches are all crazy out there. Lots of YouTubers getting into it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so we need combos which are easy to trigger. Implement specific features that really work because it's just too specific and it's not general enough. So we really like, instead of like implementing features, we want to just implement the feature. What other designs constraints did we face? Let me see. We need a way to improve the deck. So kind of, it doesn't really make sense to kind of get a new feature to play because it's just all too specific. We need a simple way that just gives you a card which is better, objectively better. Like lots of games have, like you do X amount of damage and then you do an upgrade and you do more damage or like twice damage, like in 2 different attacks. So we need a way to kind of have this encoded into this whole dev cycle, which is possible. It's just tricky. Improve the deck. Simple to understand. I think that's important. It needs to be simple to understand. You need to see that this card is objectively better. You need to be able to scan it. It needs to be very easy to understand / scan. So yeah, you just need to look at it. You need to be able to look at the hand and know exactly what to do, especially in the beginning of the game. The more it progresses to kind of later stages of a run, it can become more complicated where you actually think about how you combine and do things. But at the very beginning, it needs to be like super simple and kind of easy to scan, and needs a relatively, I think I missed spot, needs a
You're being 2 out of the 3 guys at Starbucks now that you need for a team. You have the money guy who buys the Starbucks food all the time, which is nice, and you have the coder, and you have the domain expert. You're being both the domain expert and the coder, although you're
trying
a lot of the code to AI. You still have to be enough of a coder to know where that's going wrong, but you're also the domain expert here because you're talking about things that I don't have that kind of experience in playing. So, so you're 2 out of the 3 guys right now. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I mean that's the future. I feel like you need to be like versatile, and you need to like have more knowledge in different areas than just kind of pigeonholing into one.
Or you need to have
But
good friends that could be one of the other 2 guys. I mean, that works too.
exactly. But yeah, I think these 5 requirements are kind of what is all like the points which bring the game together. I think we had a couple of interesting ideas. We did some research to see how other games are doing it. To be perfectly honest, like I'm not fully convinced by any of them just yet, and I don't want to just go ahead and implement anything. I mean, to be honest, this is the reality of building anything. Like you think about stuff, you doubt stuff, you change stuff. So overall, I still think this is an interesting stream where, I mean, everybody can see the struggle of doing something that you're kind of convinced of. And I think we're kind of missing a couple of things. My goal would be for the next stream to have this down, maybe like chat offline or like, I don't know, think about some stuff more. So next stream will definitely have like the basics down. It's probably not going to be like revolutionary and like super advanced in all areas. I think we want the early game, like beginning of a run, to be fun, to be easily understandable. It should be playable by anybody without kind of too much knowledge. And like the cool thing with the code we wrote, I mean, we're still building the exact same game genre. We don't need to change anything really. All we will need to do is like adjust some effects and like how cards are drawn, the score, and so on. So it's mostly just about the specifics of the cards. Anything else we've done, like the nice animation of this pop effect, dragging and dropping cards, which is sometimes bugged. Oh, there we go. No, it's not. Now it is. Whatever. That's all gonna stay exactly the same. I also still like kind of the amount of hours we have, so that's not gonna change. It's just about kind of the mechanics, how things are played. But anything else will probably stay the same, I think. Yes. Is there anything you would like to add, Randall?
I was just going to say that file that you were editing earlier, you should call it rug.md because it really brings the room together.
This one?
Yeah. It's a joke. It's a stupid joke. I would. It's a grandpa joke, which I get to make now since I'm a grandpa.
Yeah, I will need to actually. I think I didn't push the changes, or did I? Actually, I think no, I didn't. There's 4 commits which I haven't pushed to the repository yet. I'm always telling this, but I just need to see through it and see if it compiles so people can actually try it out. But I will very likely do that very soon. And
we have the link for the GitHub somewhere. I forget where we've got.
Let me open it up.
One.
Roguelike deck builder. There we go.
You can paste it in the public chat, or I can. If you put it in here, then I can pick it up. Oh, you did. It worked. Okay.
Oh, interesting. It posted as a Flutter community. Okay.
Did that-
Here it is. This is the source code. I will update it. 3 weeks since last commit. We had 2 episodes since then, but I was just I didn't really update it. Not such a big deal, as there's still a bunch of stuff to implement, but I'm really looking forward and actually getting a playable version out very soon. I think if at the point where we have like the base ready, we're ready. Like, we need to do a couple of changes, and this is kind of playable. Yeah. Thank you for everybody watching.
Good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever is appropriate in your part of the world.
And see you next stream.
Yeah. And Wednesday. Don't forget Wednesday. We're here Wednesday. Some of us are here every Wednesday. All right. Where do we where's the little timeout music at the end? I don't know where anything is here. Nobody ever gave me the instructions. Was it media assets? Is there like an outro? Sounds?
Maybe we'll just have to end it.
Would just be a cold ending? Oh my god.
A cold ending.
Yeah, do it. Or we can do a countdown again. No, that's backwards. Never mind.